And then, of course, we had to build over 100 signal system. So very, very large public works project. And we're lucky we also opened up among the very few in the country with positive train control. As you know, that is the mandate by United States Congress that by end of 2018, every rail operation in United States have to have this technology. And the purpose of the technology is to prevent certain type of accidents, derailment, head-on collision, and those kind of things. Very, very, this is the latest of the technology. And we're very happy that we actually opened up with that in our service last year. Also, another milestones, we had to really create an entire organization. When I arrived at SMART, we had staff of 6 and zillion consultants. One of the things we did is we started now building a transit agency. We had to hire over 100 key people throughout the country, and that generated a lot of employment because for every something we were doing, it also got a lot of local businesses involved. In addition to all the bridges that I reported to you, we also ran into a problem where over Petaluma River Bridge, we had to replace this 100-year-old bridge where the bridge would take 15 minutes to turn so the ships can go and the train go over it. Well, you cannot run a commute trail and commuter train and have a 15-minute turn on a bridge. So we had to replace the bridge, and that was a big puzzling for the engineers of us tried to figure out what to do. We had to build a rail operations center, our dispatch center, where we control all the train movements, and that's where everybody reports to. We built that at Sonoma County Airport. One of our other missions is to build a multi-purpose path as much as possible that money allows, and we have right away, and we have built 15 miles of it so far, and we continue building more as we get more money and we get more opportunities.
Can you tell them where we got the bridge?
Yes, coming up.
Okay, sorry.
So some of the key operating details for you. Our top speed is 79 miles an hour. When you go end to end, average speed is about 40 with all the stoppage and slowing down and opening the doors and closing the door. So 40 miles an hour compared to Highway 101, which is about 1.5 miles an hour. Thanks to Senate Bill 1 that Kelly was talking about, SB 1, we received fund immediately, and we immediately put that to work and have increased our daily on weekend and weekday trips. So we immediately put that money into operations, and we're providing more trips than we even anticipated right at the beginning. We serve every 30 minutes during most of the congestion area, and as soon as we're able to hire more people, then we will fill in and truly have a 30-minute commute in all the evening and morning commute hours. We have two-way operation on a single track. We chose to do single track. Our environment and the preservation of our environment is very crucial, as it is on the top of our list. We did not want to build two tracks where environmentally was sensitive. So we operate on a single track, and we have built 4 passing lanes where the trains pass each other at the speed, of course, very carefully and very precisely. And that's one of the deals with the positive train control. And since last year, we have carried 650,000 people. All the people who said nobody's gonna ride you, all the people who said this is absolutely just an expensive toy, now are, well, I wish I could say they're quiet, but they're not. They continue saying, yeah, but, and we'll get into that. So we're very happy, 650,000 people who are no longer on highways and local roads and have got their life back. Environmental mitigation. When you do major public works project, as you know, for everything you do, you have to do environmental mitigations. one of the things we wanted to do, and our board was adamant, is instead of doing all the little mitigations here and in this county and in that city, can we do something major? And the answer was yes. So we purchased 56 acres of an area right between Marin County and Sonoma counties. And the site has been restored, and you will see this is what the site looked like. It used to be an old marina where people would go and do trap shooting and, get on their boats and go to San Francisco Bay. This is what it looked like for decades. It was just run down, and we bought that and we turned that into an absolute award-winning marina, where now you see species and animals that nobody has seen for decades, and it's a beautiful area. So that was one of our big contributions, almost 60 acres of mitigation. Then on our pathway, one of the things we did is we took a step back and we said, we want to build 70 miles of pathway. How do we do that? And one of the things I had our staff do is let's go get NEPA clearance. As you know, you have CEQA for the state, but for the federal money, you need NEPA. And thanks to Caltrans partnership, we did a NEPA for 36 miles, and we are now very much eligible and have been receiving federal funds. So it's kind of that kind of planning that you come out with a vision, and then you take a step back and you figure out where you put yourself in that best position to do that. Just in last fiscal year, I reported to our board that we just built another 5.6 more miles of bike path at a very good cost of $5.4 million. We have 7 transit agencies in Marin and Sonoma, and it took us about 2 years to figure out together how do we coordinate your schedule and ours. When our train arrives, what happens? We wanted to make sure from the rider's point of view that you have almost a seamless. We're all different government agencies, but as a citizen, you don't care. You want to get off bus and get on a train, and vice versa. So we work very hard. Our transit planners, I'm very proud of them, and they put a tremendous relationship together. So finally, what we were able to do is have all of this dialed in. We're still learning. One of the interesting problems we're having is because train is on its own track, other than something has happened, we are on time. But the buses are on the local traffic or on the regional highway traffic, and we're still trying to figure out how to dial in those final 1 minute early, you're 1 minute late, and how do we get that going? We now have a lot of taxis and ride sharing and local jurisdictions like County of Marin. They really embrace this idea. The county provides, if I'm not mistaken, either $40 or $50 per employee if they're using the green commute. And so they incentivize the employees, and then they turn around and they basically buy what I call wholesale deal of tickets from us, and their employees are then getting the train ride at very, very small price. So all of that is taking place. Then in addition to the bike path we're building, we also build lockers for the bicycles, and now we're beginning to have bike rentals. Actually, Metropolitan Transportation Commission, your counterpart in the Bay Area, just gave Marin and Sonoma counties $830,000 for 1 year so they can start this bike share program at all of our stations. And of course, we're allowing the bikes on the train. Then the latest thing that has happened is now the private cars have showed up. The CMAs, congestion management agencies, your counterparts, they are doing the car share, they're doing the zip card, they're having the lift discounts. Like Marin CMA, what they do is if you get off the train, they give you a huge discount, and apparently you only pay $5 wherever you go. So TAM pays the discount. So Lyft shows up, you get on it, you go to your place of work, you pay $5 and TAM pays the rest. So it's that kind of thinking that everybody is now embracing our arrival. One of the things we heard from the employees is, what if I have an emergency while I'm taking train? I need to go home because of emergency. And they've come out with the guaranteed ride homes. So these are the things that is falling in place very, very nicely. Our payment method is two-way. One is on a Clipper card, which, as you know, everybody now in the Bay Area, all the transit agencies use. And also we developed our own app. And the app is extremely popular. As you can imagine, everybody has an iPhone these days. You get on and you buy your ticket and you show that to the conductors. Our fares is based on a zone. The farther you travel, the more you pay. It has a base plus the number of zones you go through. Then we created more products, and our number one product that it's very, very most popular is the 31-day pass. The 31-day pass for $200. You go 31 days, no limit, as many times as you like, and that's the most popular for our commuters. The same pass is half price for seniors, youth, and people with disabilities. For businesses, we created what is known as EcoPass. So IRS allows, if you are spending money on public transit, and until recently, bicycle was considered public transit, but the current administration changed the definition, so now it's just transit. If you are spending money, there is two things you can do. One is you can buy those tickets before tax, and the second is if you buy those through your employees, then that private employer, their payroll tax is reduced because they're spending money on that. So it has a great business, and for your point of view, it has that. And that's what we have, and it's called EcoPass. Many of our public and private businesses are buying those EcoPasses, which our people use. Some of the smart benefits that we planned and we're looking at is, of course, it's fast, it's reliable, and it's dependable. You know, Highway 101 is the spine that connects Marine and Sonoma. It is my marketing plan. It is a parking lot. I really appreciate that. On weekends, it is as bad as weekdays because of the tourism that is coming from San Francisco Marine going north. So this gives them an option and a reliable and a dependable. So these are some of the benefits. We open our doors to full passenger service on August 25th, very festive area. And then I want to stop and just give you, so all of this is great, but when you build such a large public works project, then you run into challenges, and I call opportunities. So I'd like to share some of that with you. So this is where we started with what our stations should look like. Pretty nice. Kind of, it fits exactly what Marine and Sonoma and Santa Cruz, right? You know, it's like, and so we go through all of our process, environmental, how much money is available, and the community input. And then we actually end up building this, which is simple but practical. Level boarding, 48-inch above, and fully ADA compliant. The location of the stations was one of the challenges. Fortunately, it happened before my time. So by the time I showed up, Deb and the rest of the board members had to go through this. So now all I could do is say, yeah, this is good or not, but I always said it's good. We ran into interesting items that I want to run by you. So imagine we run trains 60 years ago. So our right-of-way was there. But as things were going very smoothly, we discovered a tree. And if you look at this tree and you look at very much on top, you see that it has white leaves. And so the construction guy was ready to cut it down. Remember, this is in our right of way, so that means the tree is only 50, 60 years old, because prior to that, there was passenger service. And I had an activist who come to me and says, Farhad, what if this tree can cure cancer? And I'm like, okay, well, let's study that. So we studied the tree. I got experts from UC Berkeley to come in and look at it. They looked at it. They said, nah, this is just, maybe it's a disease. Cut it. And I said, okay, can I have that in writing that this is just a nothing tree? And they did. Well, the community started talking more and the experts started being divided. And the idea was this is a rare chimeric albino tree that there is only 10 of them in the world. And you can imagine, you see how big it is compared to the guy standing next to it. So what do you want to be? As a transit agency, you want to be the one who cut the cancer curing tree, but you have it in the letterhead that says it's good, right? Or do you actually do something about it? And I went to my board and I said, what do I do? And the chair and everybody said, you make all that money, you go make the decision. Then we see if you made the right decision or not. So I made the decision. It became a major operation of moving the tree and the roots. You can imagine this is now about 10-story tall. And we have all these utility lines overhead, the services. So it became an entire operation. We're very proud of that because we moved this tree. We took 1,000 DNA samples from it in case this is a cancer curing tree, and it dies during transportation. And those are safe in different laboratories where they keep these kind of things. I'm happy to report to you the tree is doing fantastic in its new place. It has a plaque next to it, and everybody looks at it. And the number one question I'm asked is, so how much did this cost? Which I always say. And the next slide, right? Because I learned whatever, if I tell the true number, then it's 50% love it and 50% say another government waste. So, next item, how's that? We had to replace the bridge over Petaluma River. Replacing a bridge where ships go under it and train goes over it is something between $35 and $50 million. And our budget did not have a $35 to $50 million budget. It's that simple. So I dispatched our team of engineers and I said, you get out of the typical thinking that we do as engineers, what is the safest way, and let's figure out what we can come up with the safest, but something very unique. Well, we found that United States Coast Guard had just installed a bridge in Galveston, Texas. The channel was no longer wide enough and they wanted to get rid of the bridge. So we bought a used bridge. I took that item to my board and there was almost no comments, but everybody was staring at me like, really? And I said, well, here is the math. We can save 20 million plus. And the board, to their credit, said, okay. So that's what we did. We bought this bridge, we transported it, and we x-rayed every pieces of it. We built a new foundation, and the bridge won the California Bridge Project of the Year 2 years ago. We now have an 80-year bridge, which, by the way, it turns at 110 seconds, where ships go under it and the bridge comes up. So, challenges and opportunities. One of the big things that we do during construction, and we do constantly, is connecting with our community. Young, experienced, Latino communities, other communities, we want them to know what is happening with their train, what is coming up, and a lot of safety education. Some of the slides for you. We created this website where it teaches people about public safety. If you haven't had train operation in your town for a long time, there are generations who've never seen the train. Our generation was grown with train, but the younger generation don't know that. And they continued driving or walking and riding their bike the way they are. So that was a big, big challenge for us. We go to every single elementary and junior high and high school, and we have sessions one-on-one. We show them films how to be what we call track smart. Total cost of the project, including the phase we are doing today, which is connecting us to Larkspur, is about $533 million. As you can see on this pie chart, about 78% was our money, and the rest we were able to get from state, federal.
Is the capital cost?
This is everything, correct. Capital cost and everything up to opening day. Freight service update. We have another government agency known as North Coast Rail Authority. They have easement on our tracks to run freight, and they have hired a freight operator, very much like what you have done. And right now, there is a Senate bill that has passed the Senate and is in the Assembly called Senate Bill 1029. And Senator McGuire is proposing to get rid of the North Coast Railroad Authority and transfer all of their freight duties to SMART, and also preserve 150 miles way beyond our limit for a trail that they want to build. His vision is to have a trail system from Golden Gate Bridge for 300 miles north. And as I said, it has passed through the Senate and it's going through the committees, not a single opposition so far on the Assembly side. What is it that we're going to do next is, as I mentioned, we are building our next connection to Larkspur that gives us a ferry connection to San Francisco. Our business community are very, very excited about the ability of people who are coming from San Francisco and don't want to drive on 101 parking lot is to take the ferry and then to take the train. The business community sees tremendous amount of growth. That should open by end of next year. The next one is going north is Windsor, happens to be Deb's town. That project is $55 million. We finished CEQA. The design is 20% done. And we just received, within the last 2 months, a $21 million from State of California SB1 money and $40 million from the Regional Measure 3. So this is now fully funded, and we are beginning the preliminary design and hope to finish that as well. Then we have 2 more to go, Healdsburg and Cloverdale. And those, we finished environmental, we finished the 20% engineering. And then one of the interesting things is, if you are familiar with Marine and Sonoma, Highway 37, a state highway, connects Marine and Sonoma going east-west to Highway 80. And it is another parking lot. State of California and the rail plan, they approached us and they said, we want you to look into putting rail. We already have freight going there as a passenger service. And I met with the Secretary of Transportation. He and his deputy, their vision is connecting communities throughout the state on a state rail plan with rail. And they asked if we could do this. And I said, of course. Can I see some money to do that? And they just gave us money, and we're going to start that planning. So they're very, very serious about doing this, and they put their money where their mouth is. They're not just requiring you, they have you do it. Lessons learned later on. I'm speaking on behalf of Deb and I'll be happy to come back, spend many hours with you on a long workshop, and share with you some of the lessons we learned on the governance model, funding options, planning and environmental, the lessons learned that we would have done different during our EIR, during our planning process, share with you engineering and capital programs, why we were successful, when do you go out for bid, when do you manage this, when do you manage that, the construction phase, how do you handle that, and then finally operation and testing. So we've learned a lot in that last 6-7 years, and we want to share all of that with you. I'll recommend that a number of workshops, but if you'd like to come up there and look at what we've built and spend the day and talk about this and meet other board members, I think it'd be terrific for you to get that feel of what we went through. So, Mr. Chairman, that's what it is. I just have a couple of more slides to kind of get you to think, because this is what I've added. So what? Okay, this is great. Thank you, Smart. You did a great job. What's in it for us? And that's what I start putting in, is our case applicable to you? So what I'm putting down is, for us, Highway 101 is a parking lot. We couldn't move. Our emergency people couldn't move. It is simply a very, very bad situation for us. Those who were using buses and van pool, they were stuck on the same highway than everybody else was. That was our situation. The housing cost forced people to leave further away. And employers were having very hard time getting employees. And typical commute hour was 60 to 90 minutes. So this was our life. Does this sound any familiar with you?
Yeah.
You replace 101 with 17 and 1, you're having the same issues. For many years, our opposition would want us to do nothing. For many years, our opposition would say the train to nowhere, it will never get built. They would say it will promote high density. It will change the character of the community. By the way, there has not been a single high density built in the last 7 years that we've been doing the train. Because strong land use by the local jurisdictions, just like yours, that's what controls, not us. It will change the character of the community I'm sharing with you. And of course, Smart's gonna cut thousands of trees, and it will not solve Highway 101 problem. They immediately wanted to know, if I spend $100 million, how many lanes off 101, in your case 17, are you gonna free up? They were using for those simple maths. It will cost more. Fares are too high. We haven't even established it yet, but they predicted that fares be too high. The proposed tax, which was the quarter-cent sales tax, that discriminates. No one will ride it anyway, so what is it you're just building? Your forecast is too high, and we did 18 ridership studies, just so you know. So if you really want to do a ridership study, I urge you, ask George to call me first before you do 18 of them, because none of them agree with each other. Your opponents disagree with all of them. Your supporters will say they're low, and your opponents will say they're high. And then the real world is when you open your doors. Staff doesn't know what they're doing. The staff is getting paid too much. Everything I'm just mentioning. And then my favorite is the fuzzy math. And to be honest with you, I've been reading some of your stuff, and the fuzzy math is right there. 2 + 2 is 17, but alternative doing nothing is great. Just letting you know. So we went through all of these, and again, if any of these you're already hearing, I just want you to know it's there. I want to share with you, we are looking at Smart as an option, not a silver bullet. There is no silver bullet. In my 39 years of practicing as a civil engineer, we civil engineers can take you to the moon, but we cannot get you out of your congestion with a silver bullet. You need options. This is what our people learned. We need options. For us, train and the bicycle path are 2 options. That's all we're giving you. In addition to your car, your bus, your ferry, whatever other mode, we're giving you options. The train is fast and reliable. The bicycle is reliable because we're on our own path. We're not part of the highway. That's what we're giving you. It's an alternative to reduce your congestion, health and environmental benefits, and jobs and economic growth. I cannot emphasize to you how happy our downtowns are and how happy those local jurisdictions are. Without mentioning names, we had a mayor of a town. Deb and I and other board members had to assure the mayor the world is not going to come to an end when we show up, because there were all these fears. And the mayor is so happy because the businesses are so happy. Their businesses has grown by 30%. Going back to that number, 600,000 people, just think about this. This is our first year. We're still learning. Where were these 600,000 people before? They're not new people. They were on local roads, highways, whatever they were doing, they're now coming in on the train. So does any of these apply to you? This is what I've put together. So we have a report card because on August 18, we have a celebration. Our board just declared our first year birthday is August 18 and 19, free service for everybody. So it'll be a great time to visit us on Highway 18. On August 18, we have a big celebration, and our report card is as follow. More than 650,000 people, passengers that we have carried, more than 58,000 bicycles. So we now have a core group of our commuters, about 10%, who are using the bike as their first and last mile. So it's not instead of or fighting, it is us together figuring out how to build more facilities for them on the train as well as off the train. And, And we've carried over 2,800 people using wheelchair. Those people are now telling us that they have a new way of going up and down and have independence. They now can get on a train, get off, go to a restaurant, and come back. We're getting a lot of good comments there. The fare box recovery beyond our budget. Our chief financial officer, she's very, very happy. I provide that report to our board every month. So on the money side, we're doing very good. And here is what I want to leave you with. Since 2011 that I arrived, because our board put local money and because we started building, we have brought in $157 million. And we just got another $40 million from state and federal and regional. People will watch you, and if you're fighting among each other, I'm talking about us, nobody's was interested to help us. As soon as we started building and we started going forward, the state, regional, and the feds want to help you, especially they want to help you finish it. And that's what it has come. So once we started demonstrating, and 157 million goes into that pie chart that you saw, and it will only get more and more. So that's really all the items I wanted to share with you. I'll be happy to answer any questions, and of course, the president of our board, but we wanted to give you a quick rundown of what is our world.